As a born native in Tennessee, the cases out of Tennessee are priority for me when it comes to mapping the missing. We have so many that are still missing. Sebastian Rogers, Martha Leanne Green, Tabitha Tutors, the Wicks girls, and the list goes on. It's been 4 long years, and we still have no answers. Summer was 5 years old when she went missing. There was an Amber Alert issued. 3 siblings that lived at home with her mother, her father, her grandmother. And of course, this isn't the first family member to go missing. Summer's aunt, Rose, went missing many years ago, and many of us are just left to wonder what happened to Summer. Where can she be found? On June 15th, 2021, Summer Moon Utah Wells went missing from her home at 110 Ben Hill Road in Rogersville, Tennessee. I have created a missing astrological map for Summer. I am the only one that I know that maps the way that I do. I take the missing event chart, the astrology chart, and I draw out the angles of the behavior. Because astrology is a psychology, what I'm looking at is behavior of what took place that day with the missing event. I also have mapped her birth, the natal, to see what that story tells. I've mapped the state of Tennessee, the TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, her parents, and other people, other agencies like the FBI, and some of my suspects, like Don Sherfey Jr. These lines are going to tell a story. And there's a lot of people in the Beach Creek community that think that they know what took place and with who. But there's all kinds of stories that they tell on each other. And who really knows what they remember? Because a lot of these people are under the influence with medications and alcohol. So let's get into the investigation side of astrology. The maps that I create are better utilized with the information that the law enforcement and the family know. And of course, I'm not privy to the information that the TBI or the FBI has on Summer Wells' case. The missing event is showing Jody Sue's property where her and Andy used to live. This is where there is a fate here with Mars and Leo. The Mars in Leo is about a vehicle, a body, movement, children, publicity. Mars is about the car. Leo is about kids. So if I want to find a vehicle, I want to look here. And if I'm not mistaken, this is where the dog trail lost the scent with Mars and Leo. I can turn off the tab of the missing and turn on the natal. And that's where we find right beside the missing event where the car, where Mars would have been, there is a lot of emotion that has taken place at a home. It's an emotional explosion, and it's a wake-up call for the future. There is an opposition here with Palace in the future, and Palace is the investigator with groups. And again, we are thinking and talking about what Jody Sue heard. Her family heard a scream. They heard something. The natal, the birthing of Summer Wells is showing that behavior with the vehicle. And if we take that off and we look at the TBI is showing up here. This is where they have their lowest point in Leo. Their lowest point, the IC in Leo for the TBI, is going right here with their investigation. And it's about the publicity and the children, the child. That would be Summer. Here is the driveway right here. This is where the TBI have been before. The south node is here, but they reached their north node in Aquarius. That north node is going this direction. Let's look at the state of Tennessee right here. So the state of Tennessee has their outer wheel in Leo. During missing events, Saturn in the third house of communications receives obstacles. The communications are with what Jody and her family heard. There's a federal number here. This is a federal degree. And we can look at the driveway here with this the state of Tennessee, and there is a lot of communications that has to do with health and travel. And it goes down to Simpson Road and Ben Hill. But I'm looking for a vehicle, right? I'm looking for a vehicle. There is a vehicle here. Mars in Cancer. The vehicle that caused all the emotion is with Don Sherfey Jr. And we know that Don Sherfey Jr., he had just gotten out of jail. He'd only been out of jail for a month over child P. And there is a lot of expansion here with the law enforcement on this angle. And all of the warring that he has with the law enforcement on this angle is going this direction to the west side of Morrison Cemetery and going to the Morrison Cemetery Road and the back of this property here. And it looks like a little trail. Looks like some houses or something in a trail back here. Maps that I create are going to be telling us a story. And if we go back and we look at this property a little bit closer and we take him off, we see that the TBI is coming over this outbuilding, whatever it is, and just to the west of the Goat property. TBI meets their mark with a lot of enlightenment. A lot of enlightenment. State of Tennessee is also here with the outer will, with their house of groups. The state of Tennessee with other agencies. That brings a shakeup. You can see that the natal is here. It's going right over. This is the birth chart of Summer Wells. These red lines are the birth chart. 11th house of groups with law enforcement agencies are magnetized here. And there's a lot of darkness, a lot of disordered aggression with Summer and the law enforcement. And we know that Don Sherfey Jr.'s father prides himself on being in the know with the law enforcement agencies. We see that the missing event is going right smack dab over that property. The missing event is magnetized with the law enforcement here, and it's opposing the abuse, the warring. We see that Candace, the mother of Summer Wells, has limits and obstacles with the law enforcement here and what Jody Sue states. This square is a challenge. It's challenging the information, the vehicle with Sherfey Jr. right here. Her Pluto, the intense transformation that takes place with the law enforcement is going right here as well. And that angle is a good one. It's where things are hidden. We would have to dissolve. And it's going to the church where Summer attended. We can see that Dawn's birth chart is showing that there is a Venus here. This is where all of the values, the money, the values with the law enforcement are. And it's fated. There is a fate with Dawn Wells and the law enforcement, and it's going this direction. Goes this direction to Light Cemetery. Then we have the FBI. The FBI rises with their leadership, with the law enforcement right here. Again, over this property. This is where they rise with their investigation. And the question begs, when will they rise? They have the capability to rise here with the state of Tennessee, with Don Sherfey Jr. First, there are other addresses and other people that are showing up with this investigation where leads come in. We do know that the state of Tennessee, their fifth house of kids, that is transformative, is going over Morrison Cemetery. Whatever happened to Summer can be investigated with this type of innovative method. But it does take us all with the information that we have collected over the years since she's been missing. We know that the TBI wants to search again below the property here. And this is where they have their lowest point with the publicity, and is going right over Jody Sue's property. But the vehicle, that Mars, is right here. And the degree in which he has in Cancer, his Mars, that is exactly the same degree with Summer Wells, where all the emotions are going. Here we are in Kentucky. The TBI reaches their midheaven here. But their lowest point is where I have seen them have great luck with children. If Don Sherfey Jr. or anyone took Summer, I don't think that they would have stayed in the area. This is where he was living. And we can see that the same degree as Layla Santinello and the state of Tennessee is where Summer lets go. What is she letting go of? Is she in the back of the property here on Reservoir Road? There's a breakup here, and there's a letting go. All we have to do is go on to the other side of Reservoir Road to find the TBI rising to the occasion here. We can find the state of Tennessee is receiving information and leads here. And there is a pain that the TBI has on this angle. They have a lot of pain here. And they find the Venus. And this is where Don Sherfey Jr. would be letting go of a burden, right where Summer Wells descends with relationships. And so we are looking between here and here based on the TBI and the state of Tennessee. The missing event is also here. So I would be looking for Summer. This is Back Hollow Road, River Mountain Road, Lake Road, Cherry Knobs Trail, Lakeside Trail, Food Plot Road Extension, where Lakeside Trail is. And this is, of course, the Kingsport Reservoir, right next to the Bays Mountain Reservoir. So any of you that are wanting to go and search for Summer, try something different and get different results. Because these lines are telling a story about the behavior of what took place with Summer and where she could be found. Right now, Sherfey Jr. is still in jail, or he's back in jail. And I think it would be wise for the TBI to get information from him in regards to this area. If we wanted to take these all the way up, of course we could. We could go all the way into Virginia, where I have an address of Ernie Shell. And where I have this address for Ernie is in Gate City, Virginia. If you want to find Summer Wells and you want to have a good area to look for Summer, this is it. This is where I would look first for Summer. Light Cemetery, behind the property of the Sherfey residence, sure. But we can't look there, can we? These maps that I've created for these kids are not for my health. They're not for notoriety. They are to help bring these kids home. And again, these lines tell a story. And they're going to tell the story of other places where there could have been searches or other people, like the old beach market. Wasn't the old beach market searched again? If I remember correctly, this market right here, this old beach market on Beach Creek Road, we see that there is a lot of deep transformation for Sherfey Jr. here with the state of Tennessee. So it would not surprise me if the state of Tennessee, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation agents are not talking to him. I believe that they're talking to him, and I believe that they should if they're not. I want to say that the law enforcement has also looked over here off of Fields Road. This is where the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has desires with leads. And this is where the state of Tennessee goes back into the past to search for what's hidden. Looking for evidence. And there's definitely a relationship with Summer Wells here that brings her a conscious raising experience. The FBI rises here to the occasion. This is the same line that goes over the Goat property. There's things that bring the state of Tennessee a shakeup here on Fields Road. It's the same lines that's going over the Goat property, just like Sherfey Jr. And so this would be another area. This would be another area to search. Not up here, but further on down Fields Road. But I'm just giving those of you that like to search for summer direction based on the planetary influences that influence us day in and day out. This is all about behavior. I think when we work together instead of against each other, we can help bring these kids home. And the FBI, the TBI, the state police could find Summer. This case is solvable. I just wonder, when is it going to be solved? When are people really going to start looking in places that could really lead them to Summer? So I hope you guys will heed this innovative way, and let's bring Summer home. Thank you for hanging out with me and going over this map quickly. Thank you for having interest in the case of Summer Wells. Please like, subscribe, share, all that jazzy junk. And I will be talking to y'all very soon. Peace out.